Welcome back. Thanks very much for staying with us. You are watching WION World is One with me, Raisha Sehgal, and this is News Point, where we get you the latest from all across the globe in just a matter of 30-odd minutes. Let's get you started. US President Donald Trump has warned of BRICS member countries from replacing the US dollar as a reserve currency. Trump said in a statement on Truth Social that his government needs commitment from BRICS nations that they will neither create any new currency nor will they support any other currency to replace the US dollar. If not, they will face 100% tariffs. The statement is nearly identical to the one he made on November 30th. And this comes after BRICS member nation Brazil threatened to reciprocate if Trump hikes tariffs. Brazilian President Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva has called for mutual respect and has said that his government would reciprocate if Trump decides to impose tariffs on his country. UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres has urged for the immediate medical evacuation of 2,500 children from Gaza, citing the imminent risk of death in the coming weeks. This demand comes after Guterres met with 4 US doctors who volunteered in Gaza during the 15-month-long war between Israel and the Palestinian militants Hamas. The doctors highlighted the dire situation with the healthcare system severely damaged. Meanwhile, the World Health Organization has said more than 12,000 patients, including children, were waiting for medical evacuations, and it had hoped that they could be ramped up under the ceasefire that began on January 19th. 5 Thai hostages who were released by Hamas militants arrived at the Shamir Medical Center outside Tel Aviv. They were amongst 8 hostages freed in the 3rd round of hostage-prisoner exchange deal. The 5 Thais were a part of a group of 31 nationals taken captive by Hamas on October 7, 2023. Till date, 28 Thais have been released, 2 have been confirmed dead, and 1 person's status remains unknown. Thailand's ambassador to Israel welcomed the released hostages at the medical center and said that the Thai government had notified the families of the hostages. Hamas has confirmed the death of Mohammed Deif, the head of its military wing and alleged mastermind of the October 7th attack. 6 months after Israel announced that he was killed in an airstrike in Gaza. This confirmation comes as Hamas's first statement on Deif's condition since the Israeli military announced his death in August last year. Deif was targeted in a strike at Hamas's Khan Yunis brigade. Brigade commander Rafa Salameh's compound in Khan Yunis area on July 13th. Along with Deif, Hamas has also confirmed the death of 4 other members. Syria's new interim president, Ahmad al-Shara, has announced plans to establish a committee that will prepare for a national dialogue on the country's political future. This committee will also be responsible for selecting an interim legislative council following the dissolution of parliament. Al-Shara's comments came during a broadcasted address just a day after he declared himself the interim leader of Syria. This move marks a major development in the country's transition nearly 2 months after al-Shara led a successful insurgency that overthrew Bashar al-Assad on December 8th. M23 rebels have vowed to march on to Democratic Republic of Congo's capital, Kinshasa, after capturing most of Goma city. Vowing to continue the liberation march, the rebel leader Corneille Nangaa claimed that they are establishing humanitarian corridors to help displaced people return home. This comes as the United Nations has expressed deep concern over the unfolding situation and urged for restraint and peaceful resolution to the conflict. U.S. Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth and Japan's Defense Minister reaffirmed their commitment to strengthening the U.S.-Japan alliance. During a phone call on Friday, they agreed to continue initiatives aimed at upgrading their command and control framework and expanding their bilateral presence in southwestern Japan. This is a part of ongoing efforts to reinforce the alliance, which has been a cornerstone of regional security in East Asia. The two countries have been working closely together to address shared security concerns, including the challenges posed by China's growing military deployment in the region. U.S. President Donald Trump's nominee for Director of National Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, faced intense scrutiny during her confirmation hearing. Lawmakers from both the parties criticized her past comments sympathetic to Russia, her meeting with Syria's now deposed leader Bashar al-Assad, and her support for government whistleblower Edward Snowden. Gabbard, a lieutenant colonel in the National Guard who served two tours in West Asia, acknowledged the need for major changes in the U.S. intelligence service, citing years of failures that have led to wars, foreign policy failures, and misuse of espionage. She emphasized that these issues must be addressed, especially given the renewed threats from Russia and China. Hundreds of university students in Serbia continued their 80-kilometer protest march from Belgrade to Novi Sad, passing through the town of Stara Pasova on their way to demand justice for the victims of a deadly overhang collapse that killed 15 people in November. As the students marched through Stara Pasova, they were met with cheers and support from the local residents, who offered them food, drink and blankets. The students, who have been camping at their facilities for 2 months, they plan to join a massive blockade of Novi Sad's brigades on Saturday. The demonstrations have already led to the resignation of Serbia's Prime Minister and reflect wider discontent with the president, Vučić's authoritarian rule. Sydney authorities have ramped up security at Jewish schools and increased police patrols around major Jewish sites after a string of anti-Semitic attacks. Police were seen outside a Jewish school standing guard as students returned from summer break, just days after it was targeted with anti-Semitic graffiti. This comes after police in New South Wales found explosives in a caravan that could have caused widespread harm. The explosives were believed to be intended for an anti-Semitic attack. Uganda is now facing its 9th Ebola outbreak since 2000, with the latest confirmed case in the capital city of Kampala, resulting in a fatality on January 29. The victim, a male nurse at the Mulago National Hospital, had initially sought treatment for fever-like symptoms at various facilities, and with a traditional healer, the Health Ministry has listed 44 contacts for tracing, including 30 health workers. This latest outbreak comes after Uganda declared an end to its previous Ebola outbreak in 2023, which resulted in 164 cases and 77 deaths. Storm Evo brought severe flooding to northwestern France, inundating the small town of Redon. Emergency workers in wetsuits navigated the flooded streets in inflatable boats, rescuing residents and their belongings. 3 departments in the northwest were placed under red alert for flooding as Storm Evo followed closely behind the previous storms, WION and Hermania. The severe weather conditions have forced around 1,000 people to evacuate their homes since the weekend. According to a new report by the US Copyright Office, artists can copyright works they made with the help of AI. Meanwhile, fully machine-generated content will not be considered under the copyright law. The Copyright Office has said that a person simply prompting a chatbot or AI image generator to produce a work does not give that person the ability to copyright that work. The ruling, however, does not address the growing debate over copyrighted human works that are being pulled from the internet and other sources and ingested to train AI systems, often without permission or compensation. The Copyright Office has said that they are working on a follow-up report regarding the legality of training AI on copyrighted works and who should be held responsible for the same. Barcelona has made helmets mandatory for e-scooter users. E-scooter riders who do not wear a helmet will be fined €100. That's around $105. The new law will come into effect starting this Saturday. Barcelona recently banned e-scooters from plying on pavements. Bicycles are also banned from sidewalks except for cyclists accompanied by minors. E-scooter usage has surged in Spain in recent years, but the boom has been accompanied by a rise in accidents and complaints from drivers and pedestrians about riders flouting safety and parking rules. New York Blood Center, or NYBC, one of the largest non-profit blood centers in the United States, has been hit by a ransomware attack. NYBC has said that the organization detected suspicious activity on its IT systems on January 26th, which it can now confirm was a ransomware attack. The blood center has said that the donation center activities and blood drives will have to be rescheduled, adding that the processing time for blood donations may be longer than normal. SoftBank Group is in talks to lead a funding round of up to $40 billion in AI, OpenAI, at a valuation of $300 billion. That could be a record single funding round for a private company. The funding comes as Chinese startup DeepSeek has launched an inexpensive AI model that has caught worldwide attention and challenged expectations to develop and deploy AI. The funding is expected to come in the form of convertible notes and similar to OpenAI's last funding round. It is conditioned on OpenAI restructuring its business to remove control of the company by its non-profit arm. Oil prices rose as markets weighed the threat of tariffs by US President Donald Trump on Mexico and Canada, the 2 largest crude exporters to the US. Brent crude futures for March now trade around $77 a barrel, while US oil contracts for the same month trade around $73 a barrel. The market will be watching the upcoming OPEC Plus meeting scheduled for Feb 3rd. as recent US sanctions on Russian oil have removed over 1 million barrels from global supplies. Apple executives forecast strong sales growth, a sign the company will recover from a dip in iPhone sales as it rolls out artificial intelligence features. The forecast comes after Apple delivered a slight drop in iPhone revenues for the holiday shopping quarter and lagged Wall Street estimates. Apple has approached AI more cautiously than many of its peers. The huge data center spending of rivals such as Microsoft, and instead envisioning AI as features meant to help sell its latest hardware. Starbucks and its union representing more than 10,000 baristas have arrived to bring in a mediator to help resume stalled contract negotiations and reach a deal. Talks between the two parties, which began in April last year, were halted in December before final round, with the union saying that the coffee chain had yet to bring a comprehensive package to the table. Starbucks had said in December that it scheduled and attended more than 8 bargaining sessions with union delegates and reached 30 agreements. The union, which has filed more than 90 unfair labor practices against the company in recent weeks, had gone on a 5-day strike just ahead of Christmas, which closed Starbucks stores in multiple cities, including LA, Chicago, and Seattle.